I am very pleased to introduce a colleague and a good friend. Uh, Today, in one of our coffee chat sessions, we have Dr. Nancy Shehadeh sharing a tool with us that we have shared with her, but she has taken this tool to a much higher space. So. Nancy, thank you for joining us, and please go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you all about a tool that actually Dr. Judy Summers introduced me to called FlipGrid. What's great about this tool is it really increased student engagement in my online classes. It empowers learners as well as facilitates collaboration and social learning among online students. And the best part is it's free. Microsoft actually bought it back in June 2018. So for educators, it's free, and it's really an education-focused platform where you get to create and share videos. So it's very similar to a discussion board that you would have in Canvas, except rather than it being written, it's video-based. And for what it allows us educators to do is to pose these question style prompts, and your students are able to respond in video, in recorded videos. So let's get started here. So the mission of FlipGrid, it is to empower every learner on the planet to share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others. Here. It's very simple, authentic, fun. It really presents, it's similar to a typical informal classroom discussion. And, what my aim is here is to kind of go through the components of FlipGrid with all of you, and then take you through, the uses in the classroom, and ultimately kind of take you to one of my classes to give you the instructor's perspective on how this tool is when it's integrated in Canvas, as well as the student perspective. So first, I'd like to talk to you about the components of FlipGrid. So they have something called grids. So once you create a free online account, you have an unlimited amount of grids. And the grid it's really your community. It's, for me, it's my class. So every class I teach, I use FlipGrid, and each grid represents a class. You can also use it in any type of learning community. It could be a staff. It could represent any type of community. But for the purpose of this presentation, I personally use it to represent my class. And what's nice is you're able to customize features in the grid that applies to something within that grid called topics. And topics are your assignments within the grid. So before I jump into the topics, let me tell you a little more about the grid. So you get to, if you weren't going to integrate it into Canvas and you were going to use it through the FlipGrid website, you can customize, the way you want your students to enter the grid. So you would have like school email, which they would request like at fau.edu, and any other customized settings you want to have in there. An example is I always have closed captions. So I want all the assignments, all the videos within my grid to have that feature. And anything else you want to make sure is set up in that specific grid for that class, this is where you'll do it. And then once your grid, this is still the grid. So an example is these are kind of the features you get to choose within your grid. So you can be notified. So every time a student responds to your question style prompt, you're notified via email. I always have this one on as well, which is to allow the students when they post their video to have the option if they would like to download it and save it for themselves. The closed caption feature, which I already kind of touched on. And then, anything else here, you click it as you customize it as you please. Now, as I go further along here, now we're going to talk a little about the topics within each grid. So the topic represents your assignment. And I use this tool actually for a few assignments in my classroom, and you get to customize those settings to how you want this assignment to be. So here you have title, and then they have the recording time. So they give you a number of different options when it comes to recording times. You have, I think the shortest amount of time to give students to record their video is like 15 seconds, all the way to 10 minutes. And the 10 minutes is actually a new feature. Once we all jumped from face-to-face to online in the education world, they had added that feature, which was pretty cool. So that way, students, if it was for an informal presentation that tended to be a little lengthy, you have the option to give students 10 minutes to do that.
Nancy,
Now,
we have a question.
yes, please, yes.
So we have Dr. Ilaria Sierra, and she wants to know if you can actually customize the captions for other languages, Italian in her case.
Oh, that is a good question. Um, I am not sure. That's something I'm going to have to look into, and I really want to. I know that you can specify location by country when you're setting up your grid, and that is a really, because I know that this is for the global community. So my assumption would be yes, but I honestly don't know for sure. But I'm actually going to make a note of that because I really want to look into that one.
Yeah, me too. We will definitely let you know.
Yes, thank you. Great question. Oh yes, so setting up the topics or the assignments in our case. So again, you have the recording time, and then you have the little section. Oops. You have the section to include, kind of the question prompt that you have. And I do want to point out, I'm going to be showing you my class in Canvas when it's integrated. I'll go through this as well. But what's nice is when it's integrated, it's created as an assignment. So you actually have the instruction section from the assignment in Canvas so if it's like detailed instructions, because here they only give you about 500 characters, there is somewhere to include that.
We have another question too, Nancy.
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
So Nancy, about the phone app, I have used it and I know you can actually access FlipGrid and record your videos from it. How about the integration with Canvas? Can you tell us more about that from the phone app?
It works the same way. You do not, when you integrate it into Canvas, you don't share the FlipGrid code that the FlipGrid website provides you because you already have it in your course. The way students will always access FlipGrid would be through that Canvas mobile app that they have where they're signed in with their FAU, NetID, and password. Access your course like they usually would through that Canvas app and access that assignment. So what's really cool is with this transition from face-to-face to online and everyone having their whole family at home, it's been interesting because I have my students who, before they would kind of set it up where they would be recording their video, at home, it's quiet, they know their time when they're able to. Well, a lot of people have their kids at home and have so many people at home. So I actually have had a number of students in the last month where they would record their FlipGrid assignments in their cars. And they access it the same way. They're prompted to start their recording in the same fashion as they would do if they were on their laptop, but it would be through the Canvas mobile app.
And our meal, it isn't even a matter of using the grid in addition to using Canvas. We will be sending out a document that tells you how to actually integrate it. So it literally is a part of Canvas as an assignment. And you'll see when Nancy goes into her own class how that is. It's not something that's in addition. It's a part of. It's set up as one of your assignments. So we'll
Exactly.
show you how that works.
Yes, it's linked as an external tool, just like when you link it to Turnitin or any other external tool you might use in your class. Okay, so just this little section here. When I take you to my class, this section, you'll see my video because I always record a video as my option. There's a number of different options you can do to either provide more information regarding the assignment, and it just kind of keeps the students engaged. I'm big on recording videos. So the faculty that I've worked with and I've had the opportunity to introduce this learning tool to, I always encourage them to record a video. You know, students like to see us. They want us to be present. Honestly, regarding visibility, teacher presence, which is what we're always looking for in our online classes. I know that when I began teaching online, I was not big on videos. I was actually, Dr. Julie Golden Gotti was my instructional designer and one of my eCert instructors. And, she was helping me along and I did not want to do any videos. I was cool with voiceovers. I really did not want to anyone to really see me, I guess. And the truth is, students like to see us, even if it's with this type of assignment. I'll just record a video really quick, just kind of taking them through what I want them to include in the assignment. And students appreciate that, that teacher presence. So it's definitely a way to kind of, incorporate that in your assignment. Right. So this is an example of if you were to go through your FlipGrid website. Now, what happens is when it's integrated, just like Judy said, it is fully in Canvas. However, when you go to the FlipGrid website, everything is synced together. So anytime you change an assignment in the same grid in your classroom with the settings for FlipGrid, it automatically gets updated in the website. And so this is one of the courses I taught, Global Health Issues. These are the different topics. Anytime you want to edit a topic or edit a grid, you always go to that little pencil icon, and that's where you go. That's when the settings for that specific topic, or if you wanted to edit the grid, would show up. Each one of these are assignments or topics in the FlipGrid world. As you can see, one of the first ways I started implementing this or incorporating it in my class was through student introductions. And that was after Dr. Judy's recommendation. The first semester, I kind of wanted to make sure I feel comfortable with the tool. So I did the student introductions. And what's so cool is with my online classes, and I primarily teach online, is you have students from everywhere. Even with the class that I'm going to take you in, I had 3 students from France, students from all over the US. And when you kind of incorporate that video component, it just makes that online course, it just kind of gives it flavor, makes it so interesting. So this is a course that I taught, and actually Dr. Judy Summers and I were supposed to present at the Teaching with Technology showcase. And since that got postponed, I actually had all my students give me their okay in using their videos regarding FlipGrid, because I just, I wanted faculty to get to see how it is when, to kind of get a clear idea from the instructor's point of view as well as the student. So as you can see, this is a regular assignment. It's already integrated in my class. My title, I have my instructions, just the normal assignment that you would have. The only difference is I have linked it to FlipGrid. So I have my external tool, And then I also found it here. Scroll down, you find FlipGrid. There you go. Everything else is the same. Due date, available until, the dates where you want it to be available from and until, and then you save it.
Nancy, while you're going back and forth, let me respond to one question. We had a question
Sure.
about the privacy issues. Because of the fact that this is, and she's going to address those, the privacy and accessibility in this, but because of the fact that it is entirely done within Canvas, there is not a privacy concern. So go ahead, Nancy. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's exactly it. And if you were to use it through the FlipGrid website, you have a special link, password. There's a number of things that are there to make sure that, that those students are protected. But through Canvas, you don't even have to worry about that. All right, so we're of course looking at it from the instructor's point of view. So it shows my video, that instructions area, which is not more than 500 characters. And then you scroll further down and you see all my students' videos. So what I want to show you really quick now, to edit the settings for it, you just click on that little pencil. Here is topic. This is where you get to choose the amount of time you want to give your students. So you have from 15 all the way to 10 minutes. I tend to use 3 to 5 minutes for my assignments, but it's all your preference. And then here's this little area that I had mentioned. It's very short, but when you do have it integrated, this little ending here just automatically comes up. So you include your question style prompt, and then it adds that this topic is generated through Canvas, and it guides the students by saying, click the green plus to record a video and submit your assignment. And this is the area where I had mentioned you get to add whatever you want to kind of provide either more information for the students, get them engaged into the topic. This is where I recorded my video. So when you click on the option record video, it automatically detects your webcam and you start recording right there. And it uploads so the students get to view it. And then it gives you an option for like a topic tip if you have something you want them to keep in mind. Like I know with my introductions, I always tell them like, be yourself, make sure to smile, just to kind of remind them. And then as you scroll further down, you get to customize your settings. So, I require email responses because a lot of times I'll provide video feedback or feedback videos to students, and that gets emailed to them. I like my student-to-student replies to be turned on because I use FlipGrid, as I said, just like a normal discussion board. So I usually have my students have their assignment post, and then they respond to 2 fellow classmates. And what's amazing, and you'll see right now, is when you're grading, you use SpeedGrader just like you would with a regular discussion board. And all of their posts, all of their videos are in one place for you to view, grade, just like you would any other assignment in Canvas. Here are other video features. I like these turned on, where video editing to allow students to edit as they please their video. Include attachment links, because sometimes I know I've done current events and I've done where they would share, say, information about a topic. You want them to include sources. It's a great way for them to attach that. They have the option of liking each other's videos. I'm a big fan of that, so I always keep that on. And you get to set it up as you would like. And then you go update, and it's set. Now, I want to take you through the student view so you get an idea of what your students see when they enter that assignment. So just give me a second to go through here and find it.
Doctor, we have a couple questions in the chat.
Sure.
Can they respond to other classmates?
Yes. As long as you have that student-to-student reply feature on, when you're setting the FlipGrid, when you're customizing those settings, they do. And I'm going to show you right now how that works. So this is the same assignment. We're just viewing it through the student view. Okay, so here it is. They scroll down, they get to see your video, any additional information you've included, and then they get to see their students, their fellow classmates' videos. So this big plus sign here, they click on it, automatically it detects, FlipGrid detects their webcam. They start their recording. Once they do their recording, they click next. They get to view their recording, edit as they please, click next again, and then they're prompted to take a selfie. So as you can see, there's these are all selfies that we see, and then you click on it and you get to view the video. Once the selfie's taken, they get to give a title to that video, include their email, if they have any attachments, click complete, and then it uploads right here. So as you can see, here are a number of different, students' videos. And what was cool is everybody's from different places. And so as you can see, like right here with Alexis, you have Michelle. This is Michelle replied to Alexis's assignment post. Same thing with Alexandra. Here's Dennis. And I think that's actually Alexis replying to. So if you click on here, oops.
Hi, everyone.
You can see that there's Dennis, there's Alexis. When students reply to each other, like in this case, they would watch Alexandra's video. They would click this little green chat reply button, and it does the same thing. It detects the webcam, and they're ready to start recording. I just love the view from the student angle. I think it's just so much clearer. You get to really see, everyone's videos, and you also see the students that have replied to each student. All right.
And that's
Oh,
such an
sorry.
important part of it. Yeah, I just was going to jump in. That's such an important part of it, that the students are able to interact with each other and share their thoughts and their voices about the content. That's so incredible. And when you consider the content that Nancy teaches, I mean, this is health administration. This isn't fluff. And yet the students are able to really interact with the content and share their thoughts and their feelings. It's really great.
I have a question here about tips that you're going to be sharing and the information you're going to be sharing with us. Is Are there tips for faculty to prepare these prompts and things like remember to smile, sound approachable? Is this kind of included in what you're going to be sharing with us later?
That is a good question. I don't think I've included it in my slides. I do include it in my online classes because I do video presentations. I do include it as a topic tip sometimes for students, just to make sure to speak clearly, and make sure, to smile and act like you're having a conversation with someone. Make sure to look at the webcam. I include a lot of those tips in my classes because other than these assignments with FlipGrid, they usually have a video presentation towards the end. But
We
that is
also,
a good
we
point.
also sending out the student guide and the instructor guide, and those tips are included in those as well.
Yes, that is true. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Judy, and thank you, Maria. And here I am. So this is in SpeedGrader. All his videos are in one place. So if I click here, let me move this a little bit. You can see that he has different videos. So usually the first video is their assignment video in my case. And then the other two are usually the responses to the fellow classmates. And what's great is it's all in one place. I view it all. I'm able to link a grading rubric to the assignment to kind of help me, know how I'm going to be evaluating his work. But I really like this idea of it all being in one place. So it literally works like a discussion board in Canvas.
I have a question about the grading rubric. I didn't know if you were going to give a little bit of information about that.
That is a good question. So the grading rubric, it's actually interesting the way you link it to the assignment. Before you link your assignment to the external tool, you have to link the grading rubric, and I could provide you with instructions to make sure that Dr. Summers and that it gets sent out with the other information. But you link it to your assignment just like you would any other assignment. Once that rubric is linked, you'll go back to the assignment settings, and then you'll link your external tool. And once you save it, you will see that the grading rubric will be there along with that FlipGrid external tool attached to the assignment. Does that make
And
sense?
Nancy's the one that figured the workaround out for this, because we had tried doing
I
the
remember.
grid, and then there wasn't a place to put the rubric. So you start with the rubric and then go into adding FlipGrid, which Nancy figured out for us.
Yes. And when you come to the grade center or that speed grader, the rubric is there. So it really makes the grading process so much easier. But before you get to integrate Canvas into your course, you need to create your free FlipGrid account. And once you do that and you have your account done through the FlipGrid website, you jump to, you get to go back to your class, and you'll go to the settings found all the way to the bottom left-hand course menu bar. Once you click on that, you go to apps, type in FlipGrid, it'll come up, you click on it. Once you click on it, Dr. Summers made me aware of this. Even in Canvas, it'll provide you with basic instructions on how to integrate FlipGrid. So once you click on it, those instructions actually come up, right, Dr. Judy?
Yes, and we'll be sending out the specific listing of what that looks like, because this is one of those tools that you have to go back and forth between the LTI, which of course is supported by our OIT, but you go back and forth between the LTI and your FlipGrid administrator's account to get the information they need. Once you've done that, then you're good to go. But we will be sending out that information along with several other documents.
Yes, thank you. And this leads us to how to use FlipGrid in your classroom. There's so many ways to use this learning tool, but I actually wanted to ask Dr. Summers to jump in one more time and give us some examples of how she's used FlipGrid in her online classes.
Well, you're the one who's the superstar on this. I have done. I almost always use it as a form of an introduction. But I also I teach an undergrad introduction to the teaching profession class, along with several graduate level courses. And one of the things that the students seem to enjoy is I ask them to review some websites on social issues having to do with being an educator. And so they select one of them, and then I've invited them to use FlipGrid to create a commercial for their colleagues on, here's why you want to go visit this website. And they kind of have fun with that.
Oh, that is such a great idea. Yeah, there's so many different ways to use it. I've always used it for introductions, which was your suggestion to kind of start out. And now I have to say I do case studies with it where, I'll present a scenario to the students and everybody kind of responds with their rationale on how to address the issue. There's really so many ways that it can be used regarding all different educational levels, honestly.
And so I'm going to ask David if you want to let us unmute your mic so you can share to everyone what you just put into the chat.
So I'm a social work professor. I'm teaching psychopathology this summer, and I'm teaching sex therapy this summer. And I've set up patient scenarios in which I've given the students a prompt, and they have to apply clinical material, assuming the patient is sitting in front of them, and ask appropriate questions that you would in that scenario. Or take a minute and a half, and how would you respond if your patient said, X, Y, or Z to you? And then I could have other students evaluate what they thought how they thought the student did. And Dr. Judy was my guru on this. We met for an hour and a half, and she walked me through all.
Yeah, but you're the one that had the idea for how to make it work in your class. Thank you, David.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. And thanks, Dr. Nancy.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. It is so interesting the different ways that this learning tool can be used. And that's a great one. I did want to also see, I have a faculty member that actually worked with me on, she used FlipGrid this semester. Her name is Dr. Jennifer Atenito.
Hi, everyone. I just got started with FlipGrid over the past few months. Nancy kind of introduced me to this and has been showing me all of the different capabilities. And so I've started to incorporate this into, I think, all my classes I'm using it for now, for introductions, or especially if I have my students in groups and I want the groups to bond so they can work on a project together. So I use it for them to introduce themselves to each other. And I've just given up written discussions completely now because this is more enjoyable for them and for me. I could really see that the depth of the responses is so much better than when I did written discussions. And in the past, when I did written discussions, it was like I had to include so much more instruction on how much substance I wanted in their discussion, and now it's almost like I don't even need to instruct them on that. They automatically provide back so much more thought and feedback.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Atenito. Thank you for jumping in. That's so cool. Did you find that it was easy for them to use?
So far, yeah, it's only like out of hundreds of students, it's a small handful who have asked for some additional guidance or ran into difficulties. And it was usually just because they missed something small, not because there was any real technical issue. So they found it pretty simple. And I think, I don't know, you can tell me, Nancy, if I've been learning it.
No, you've been doing a great job. But I was telling Dr. Summers that, just hearing from other faculty and their experiences, it kind of, first of all, it helps others even have the courage to try something new, because I know as an online instructor, I always get a little worried about trying something new in my online classes.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is just it. I love the appearance of FlipGrid. I think it's welcoming and fun and friendly. And even when I record an introduction using FlipGrid, I'll put their little decorations that they have. I'll even put those on my own introduction because I think it's fun.
You could really have fun with it, for sure. That's so true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jen.
And
Sure.
Mary has a question, and I don't know if it's the one that I'm seeing in there. So go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, it's about the students who do not want to show themselves. They have, for some reason, they just would prefer not to. And there's also a comment in the chat that says, I heard the FAU attorney say years ago that we cannot require students to show their faces. So how do we get around this with FlipGrid, Nancy?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I've been using it, I want to say, for about 3 years now or so. And unfortunately, like, I think once or twice where I've had students say, I'd rather not. And I'm like, you know what, this is the idea is that it's supposed to mimic a face-to-face discussion. I do the same with my video presentations where I didn't know you're not supposed to require, I've always required my students to be visible in their video presentations because it's supposed to emulate an in-class presentation, which obviously we would be able to see each other. That's a good question. I have to say, overall, I haven't run into any issues where students were headstrong about not being visible. I don't know, Dr. Summers, have you dealt with this topic?
I have not personally had an issue with it. However, the FlipGrid site shows that there are some alternatives to be able to use an avatar or to, once you record and then have them put one of those decorative things that Jennifer mentioned cover it over your face so that it's, so that you have this cute little funny face on. But it is uh, absolutely not necessary to totally require if there are issues. So yeah, there are ways around it, and I'm going to make sure that we find out that before we respond. Thank you.
Yes, yes, I like that. That's a great question. I was going to go through a few pros of FlipGrid. One that really strengthens student voice as well as making learning visible. And students who don't like speaking in class actually prefer this option. And you'll see towards the end of my PowerPoint, even if you don't get it, we'll be sharing it. I think the last two slides are feedback from students on using FlipGrid in my classes. And one of them was that it's quick, it's short, concise. They didn't feel like they were on camera for too long. It gives good technology practice and exposure, and it ensures that all students are heard. And it's really a great way to get a discussion going in a virtual classroom. It's also very user-friendly, I must say, regarding their support. It is amazing. I've reached out numerous times, and within a couple of hours, I usually get a response with detailed instructions on how to address the issue that I'm experiencing. And they get, it's customizable videos, they get to adjust it, and students have some time to kind of think of the response they want to give for the question style prompts. And the best part is it's free. This is the only con I came up with. I don't know, Dr. Summers, if you have any others, but this is actually a topic that we just covered regarding students being very shy or uncomfortable on camera.
Yeah, and I don't really have any others. The shyness part or uncomfortable part could be alleviated by just letting them know that it is just going to be seen by the class. Nobody else would see it, and it would be comparable to, standing up and presenting in a face-to-face class. The other issues we will definitely address and make sure that we have some responses for you for that. And I truly appreciate you bringing them up, everyone. We also have a question about working with a multi-part assignment. I think that could be worked out.
Yeah. As in incorporating it when you have like an assignment, like a semester long project kind of thing, and have it take on different
Yes,
parts.
I think that was the question. Yeah. Business cases often employ multiple questions. So yeah, I think it would be really, really effective to take it, keep taking it one step further. Yeah, Jennifer said her students are never uncomfortable. They're more confident on camera than when they have to speak in the classroom. I think that's a valid point too, Jennifer. Thanks.
Yes, it is. Let me see really. Oh, okay. So some of the features in FlipGrid, they do have a screen recorder feature that they just added. And an example would be this image I took here. So you have this option of responding to your students through video. Their private video responses, providing them feedback. And one of the assignments I have is I have them create a Padlet wall, which is just a visual of the topic they're researching. And I don't want to go too deep into that. That's another cool tool that Dr. Summers introduced me to. And then they get to share it through FlipGrid, and my response is usually showing the Padlet wall and giving them my feedback on it. So that's a really great feature. They have the closed caption. They have a whiteboard feature. As Dr. Atenito mentioned, you can add images. You can have videos up to 10 minutes. And they even have a scoring, like a custom criteria grading rubric within FlipGrid. I usually create my own and link it, as I mentioned before, but they do have that available.
We have a question about the percentage of course grade for FlipGrid and a sample rubric. And we will definitely borrow one of Nancy's samples to share with
Definitely. I don't mind at all.
you. Yeah, definitely. And the percentage on the course grade would be comparable to what you would do with a discussion board. Thanks so much to all.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.